mats, I just thought, I just thought we would work with, start off with a back bend, just because we go through the winter and we can kind of close ourselves in, and especially, you know, what's been going on around us, we tend to hold tension in our shoulders, and I feel like I've gone through the whole winter in a sense talking about shoulder tension, which we do all have. When it comes to back bends are the exact opposite to that whole sense of closing ourselves in. So always, I suppose what I'm saying that is go with care. You work with care when it comes to back bends, and we're only going to, you know, we work in stages, and you find a way or a place that feels right for you, and that's all yoga is. It's about finding a way of feeling comfort in your body. So if we come down onto the mat, your mat, soles of your feet flat to the floor, and your knees are bent, and just start with the hands just resting on the base of the ribs, base of your ribs. And if you're okay to close your eyes, close your eyes. And just for a few moments, we're just going to settle in and feel our breath, especially, you know, if we've been sitting all day, working all day. So now just know that the floor beneath can support you, and you can give the weight of your body down to the earth, to the ground. And we're just going to start by taking 3 deep breaths in, so breathing in, really filling up the lungs inside underneath your hands. And then let the breath go, let it leave, let it go. Then consciously take a breath in, filling up, expanding, widening the lungs, the chest. And then let go, breathe out. And then one more time. And then at the end of that out breath, just notice that your breath will just come back in. You don't have to consciously take a breath. Your body knows how to breathe. You know how to breathe. And within yoga, we're just trying to, or attempting to find that deeper intelligence, I suppose, that sense that your body knows how to be healthy. Things just get in the way. So now as you lie here and as you breathe, always every now and again knowing that you can bring your attention back to your breath. And our attention does kind of fade, it comes in, it goes away. And within yoga, all we're attempting to do is to find a way of focusing on the present moment. Because in that present moment, worries and fears, anticipations and memories aren't really important. So as we lie here, taking your attention down through to your feet, soles of your feet that rest on the floor, and just wiggle the toes, lift the toes up and down, then let the toes rest, then lift the heels up and down. You're kind of getting that bit of movement going down the feet, and then just stop. And now just, if you push down into the feet, both feet, push down into both feet, notice what feelings do you feel in the rest of your body. So the connection from the feet, through the legs, through the hips, to the spine, even through to the crown or the back of the head. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, let go, pushing, tensing, doing, and just let your body be given to the floor. And then we're going to take our attention to the right foot, and ever so lightly just push down into the right foot. And as you push down into the right foot, can you feel that response in the right hip? And the right hip will start to lift. You still keep going, having a sense of the base of the big toes in both feet, the base of the little toes in both feet, and the heels. But you're just sending the weight maybe perhaps a little bit further down into the right foot to lift the right hip. The left hip might come off the floor as well, that's fine. And then just relax and let that right hip come back onto the floor. So all we're trying to do is find a way of settling, of widening, of letting go of all those tight, strong muscles that can be built up around the lower back and can give us pain, discomfort. Take your attention to your left foot and lightly, lightly go down into the left foot. Imagine weight going down through the knee into the left foot. And you might find a response in the left hip, and the left hip will start to lift. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let go, and the left hip will just lightly find its place back on the floor. We're just going to do that one more time. Go down into the right foot, and this time send the right knee away from the centre of the spine, or away from the hips, or away from the shoulders. You're sending the right knee away, and that will lift the right hip, and that will lengthen the muscles in the front of the hip. Now draw the right knee back towards the midline of the spine, or centre of the spine, to bring the hip down. Send the left knee away, send the left knee away, and that will lift the left hip. So you're sending the left knee away from the centre of the spine, and then bring the left knee back in to bring the hip down. And let's just do that a few times, so you're walking with the knees. You send the right knee away, past the toes, away from the midline of the spine. Then draw the right knee back in. And when the hip settles, when you feel the hip settling into the floor, send the left knee away. So you're not trying to do anything but get rid of tension, to rest. You're trying to rest, I suppose, that's all we're trying to do. And then you bring the left knee back in to bring the hip down. And then draw both knees in towards you. Lightly place your hands on your knees and rock from side to side. So we just let go, we change movements. And every time we do something, think of doing it in a different way, because then you use not only different muscles, but you wake up different neural pathways from the brain through the nervous system to the muscles. And then just bringing the feet back on the floor. Notice where the feet have landed. Maybe take them a little bit wider, maybe take them a little bit closer towards the hips, or a little bit further away. But just finding a place where your feet can rest, and you can feel the base of the big toes, little toes and heels. This time you're going to place the left hand on the base of the ribs. You're going to take the right arm up. You're going to stretch up through the right arm, and that will lift the right shoulder. And underneath the left hand, you're going to feel that response deep inside there. Now you're going to relax the shoulder, the right shoulder rests down, the weight of the right arm rests into the shoulder, and underneath your left hand, it settles. You're going to take the right arm down by your side, you're going to take the right arm up. So an easy, careful movement, taking the arm down, taking the arm up. Feeling the movement coming not only from the shoulder, but kind of tracking that movement to where your left hand's resting on the centre of the spine, because ultimately that movement comes from the centre of the spine and comes away from the centre of the spine. Now if this feels really nice and easy, take the right arm all the way over above your head. The elbow can be soft, you're not stretching. So you're going to feel the ribs change a little bit, but you don't have to do anything, don't have to change anything. Now we're going to rest down through the feet. Imagine the feet are resting on warm sand or soft earth, as though the feet can blend or meld into the ground beneath. And then you're going to ever so carefully start to send the knees away. Leave the hips alone, the hips will just sort themselves out. You're going to send the knees away from the centre of the spine. And that will start to lift the hips, that will start to lift the spine. But you're allowing the shoulders, the weight of the shoulders, to really rest down into the floor. As the knees get sent away, your spine will lift. Make sure your buttock muscles are soft, the thigh muscles are soft. If you're not sure what I mean, actively tense up the thighs, tense up the buttock muscles, grip the toes, grip everything. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, can you let go of those muscles? Now your hips might drop a little bit, the hips might drop a little bit, but you're getting more movement from a deeper place inside the spine. And ever so carefully lower your hips back down. Bring the right arm down by your side, then take the right hand on the base of the ribs, take the left arm up. Stretch up through the left fingertips so you could touch the ceiling. So you feel that response deep inside underneath the right hand. And then allow the weight of the left arm to rest down into the shoulder. Now we keep the ribs in the centre of the spine as soft and quiet as possible. Isn't it lovely? As you take the left arm down by your side, as you take the left arm up and overhead. So just doing that a few times, seeing, is it easy? Easy for you. If it's not easy for you, then you just go to what feels all right. And one arm will feel, or one shoulder will feel very different than the other. And if it feels okay, take the left arm and leave it above your head. Let the left hand rest above your head. But underneath your right hand, that area there stays quiet and soft. And then from where your hand is resting on the centre of the spine, imagine you can send the knees away. And as you send the knees away, that will lift the spine. So you're doing this as carefully, quietly as possible. that will start to lift the spine. So the knees are going away from the centre of the spine. Now can you imagine the knees are coming up away from the ankles? So that will lift the hips a little bit higher, but don't push or thrust or tilt or do anything like that. You're using the strength of the legs to find extension in the spine. Imagine the backs of the knees widening and opening. You can lift up one heel at a time. Can you take the right arm up? Can you take the right arm on the floor above your head? From inside, underneath the ribs, can there be a sense of coming up away from the floor? Wide shoulders, wide elbows, wide collarbones. Is it lovely? And feel your breath. Imagine the knees being drawn up. Imagine the hips widening. Find the outside edges of the feet. The outside edges of the hips have a sense of width. As you just kind of rest, perhaps a little bit, in that back bend or long, long extension. Be aware of your breath, and then ever so carefully you lower the pelvis or the spine and just stop. When the spine comes down, just stop, rest, settle. Take the feet a little bit wider, take the arms a little bit wider. Arms can be at shoulder height, and you're just going to drop the knees to the left. Maybe turn the head to the right, but really having a sense of the shoulders being allowed to rest on the floor. Shoulders, shoulders. The knees are heavy, and allow the heaviness of the knees to be felt. So remember, you're not trying to make a shape or do anything. You're trying to tap into the feelings, to tap into the sensations that are there. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back up and let your knees drop to the right. Just kind of see how that feels in your body. Maybe the head can turn to the left. And you feel your breath. And every time you make a movement, your breath changes in your body. And then when you're ready, bring the knees up, draw the knees in towards you, lightly rock from side to side, knowing that you're massaging the muscles either side of the spine. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll all the way over onto a side, whichever side's good for you, and we're going to come into all fours. So coming into all fours, that's it, well done. So the wrists are more or less underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes under, tuck your toes under, and then just tuck the toes the other way, so the opposite direction. Tuck the toes under, and then the other way. Under, and then the other way. And then just tucking the toes under, just being careful if you have anything going on with your feet. You don't have to put pressure into them at all. We're going to send the crown of the head forward, past the fingertips, and then we're going to ease the hips back towards the heels. Only put a bit of pressure if it feels okay. We're going to lift the spine, take the crown of the head forward, then we're going to just turn the toes the opposite direction, and we're going to ease the hips back towards the heels. We're going to lift and we're going to send the crown of the head forward, breathe in, and as you breathe out, ease the hips back towards the heels, a little bit of pressure. As the breath comes in, lift the hips, send the crown of the head forward, tuck the toes in the opposite direction, and as you breathe out, bring the hips back towards the heels. The in-breath, you can lift the hips, send the crown of the head forward, tuck the toes in the opposite direction, and as you breathe out, ease the hips back towards the heels. And just carry on, so it's a really good one at mobilising the knees, finding more movement or mobility in the knees, as well as in the ankles, as well as in the toes, and the hips and beyond. So nothing works in isolation, the whole of our body connects. It's a really good one at just kind of easing into. And also the wrists, you're going to feel this movement, the weight going down through the wrists. And then when you're ready, just come to neutral. So what I mean by that, so just come into, so the spine is just above, the wrists are beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and just lift up one knee at a time. Just shake the wrists a little bit. Let's just do a few cat stretches. So we're going to round the spine, round spine. Imagine that your gaze can come towards your navel, round spine, and you can breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let go between the shoulders and just lift the gaze forward. Just doing that a few times, breathing in, rounding the spine, breathing out, and then sinking and taking the gaze forward. And just being aware of how your neck feels, being aware of how your shoulders feel. And then when you're ready, just come neutral spine again. And you can leave the hands in this kind of position, or we're going to go into down dog, or you can take the hands a little bit further forward. You can adjust your hands. Lift up one knee at a time. And we're just going to come onto the tips of the toes or tuck the toes under, just kind of see what's doable for you. And then lift up one knee at a time. So always know that all these movements are about mobilising, about finding a real sense of length and freedom in our body. So you're not trying to make a shape, certainly nobody else's shape. You're just trying to feel into what you can do right now. So take your attention to the crown of the head, and then be aware of that distance of the crown of the head all the way down through to the tailbone, the very base of the spine. Now if you push your heels away from you, that will take your weight back. That takes the weight back. If you draw the heels in towards the knees, that will send the weight forward. So just get that sense that you can move from the heels. You can send the heels back, you can draw the heels forward. So you're moving to and from the heels. And then come to neutral. So when you come to neutral, imagine the heels are being drawn up. And the heels are being drawn in, if anything, towards the knees. And the knees are coming up towards the hips, and the back of the waist might feel as though it can start to be lifted. Try not to push into the hands because the weight goes down anyway. As you lift your knees, if possible, lift the knees, or one knee at a time. As you start to draw the knees up, the spine is coming up. So you're not going forward and you're not going back, you're coming up. So you can widen the space between the elbows ever so slightly to get a sense of widening width between the shoulder blades. And imagine the inner elbows being drawn down towards the floor or towards your mat to get a sense of width across the shoulders. Let go of the neck. Now imagine the tailbone being as heavy as it is to send the heels towards the floor. They don't have to go all the way down. You certainly don't push into the heels. But the crown of the head moves forward, past the fingertips. You get a sense of real long spine. And from deep inside underneath the ribs is that feeling of coming up. And then when you're ready, you just lift the heels a little bit higher to bring the knees down, to flatten the feet, to ease the hips back towards the heels. You can make light fists with the hands to support the head, and really let go of the weight of the head. Let go of the weight of your body. For the floor, the floor is solid enough to support you. So you don't have to do everything all the time. So just go into down dog one more time. So the intention is to lengthen the spine, and our attention is just on that. So come on into all fours, come onto the tips of the toes, wide shoulders. You can push the elbows apart to get a sense of width underneath the armpits, and then bring the elbows or the arms back into columns. Strong columns. So we're not, if you rotate the elbows forward, that will close the shoulder blades. So you want to feel as though the insides of the elbows are facing each other and the outside of the elbows are moving away from each other. And then when you're ready, you lift the knees. The weight goes down into the hands, but you don't have to push. You can lift up one heel at a time if you like, if that helps you lengthen through the hamstrings or the calves. But you let go of the neck. And you really have that sense that the elbows are wide to encourage the shoulders to widen, to allow the crown of the head and the upper part of the spine to move forward, away from the tailbone. And the weight of the pelvis brings the heels down. So you're not pushing the pelvis up, you're coming up through the centre of the spine. The top of the spine is moving forward, the base of the spine is moving down towards the heels. And you breathe. And then when you're ready, you lift the heels, you bring the knees down, and you ease your hips back towards your heels. You can support your head with your hands, either two hands or one hand, and you just allow the weight of your body to be given to rest on the floor. And you feel your breath. And then in your own time, we're going to come to stand. So just coming to stand when you're ready. That's it, lovely. So right, so the soles of your feet are released at width apart. And just circle your shoulders a few times. Maybe shake the wrists, because we're doing stuff with the shoulders. Right, so shake the wrists around a little bit. And then we're just going to bring the hands, what is that? So you just link the fingers, the palms of the hands come together. And just do a figure eight, or a circle, figure eight or a circle. And that's just in a sense to free up the shoulders, because we're just going to move into a position that works with the shoulders. Circling a little bit, I'm not sure what I'm doing there, then shake off, and then we're going to bring the tips of the fingers and the thumbs together, just in front of the chest, just there. So the elbows are quite wide, and make sure you can circle the shoulders. You can circle the shoulders backwards, you can circle the shoulders forwards, forwards, forwards. And now we're going to do exactly the same position, perhaps, but the arms are behind us. Well, not the same position. So from here, you can just rest there, so the palms are away from you. You can circle the shoulders backwards, perhaps. You can circle the shoulders forwards. You've got the same kind of thing. And then we're just going to take the attention to the right elbow. There's a big space between the right elbow and the waist. We're going to draw the elbow in, and that will take, if possible, that will take the right hand a little bit higher. And then let go. Bring the right elbow out. Draw the left elbow in. That will take the left fingers a little bit higher. And then we're going to take the elbow out. And then we're going to shake. So you be careful with this, especially if anything's going on with your wrists, or your fingers, or your shoulders, or your neck, your jaw. Shake off again. Right, so we're going to take the hands to rest on the base of the spine at the front. Left hand can stay there. You're going to take the right hand behind. You're going to turn the right palm down. You're going to draw the right elbow in. But can you take the hand up? And then you're going to let go. You're going to take the right hand on the front. We're going to take the left hand behind, palm facing away. We're going to draw the left elbow in to take the left hand a little bit higher. And then you're going to shake. And then you're just going to let go. Right, so you come to the back of the mat. We're going to take the right foot forward. You've got space between the feet. The right foot isn't in front of the left foot. There's space between, because you know you can feel a bit out. And if you do feel a bit out of balance, you just take the feet a little bit wider. You don't have to go very long. You just find the way that it feels all right for you. So right hand can be on the base of the ribs at the front. The left hand can be on the back of the waist at the back. We're going to lift the back heel up and down a few times, and down a few times. Then stop with the back heel lifted. Now where the hand's resting behind you, draw the back of the waist into that hand as you send the spine forward, forward. Soften the knees, try not to lock the knees, try not to lock the knees. The right hand comes to rest somewhere on that right leg, and then as the left heel goes down, turn the collarbones or the base of the throat away from that right knee. So from the back heel we can turn the spine. The gaze can come up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can lift the left arm, and you have a real strong sense of connection down through the feet. The front knee can be long or the front knee can be bent. Just kind of see what feels okay for you. Lower the back arm, come to centre, stand and just step back. Send the left foot forward. Take both hands to rest on the back of the waist. Circle the shoulders a little bit. Lift up the back heel, up and down a few times, and just get that sense. When you lift the back heel, that will send or transfer your weight forward. When we bring the back heel down, it brings you down. So you're just kind of patterning or finding that way of moving, but in a different way, because then we use different muscles, we use different neurons, we use different pathways. So we're going to stop with the right heel lifted, and we're going to use that heel to send the spine, your spine, forward. From the tailbone right through to the crown of the head, you send the spine forward. The left hand can come to rest on that left knee. Underneath that hand, imagine the knee can move forward as you send the back heel down, as you send the spine or twist the spine round away from that front leg towards the left. So the collarbones are coming up away from that left knee. Your gaze perhaps can come up towards the ceiling, and if it feels okay with your shoulder, you lift the right arm. Now the weight of the arm rests down into the shoulder, and you feel your breath. And then when you're ready, lower the right arm, come back to centre and step back. So it's a really good one at widening and opening the chest and getting that sense of, well, this kind of movement rather than kind of closing ourselves in. So we're going to go one more time. So the right foot, one more time each side. The right foot goes forward. Lift the back heel up and down a few times. And maybe, you know, let the hands come to rest behind, higher or lower, wherever feels comfortable for you. Whatever feels comfortable for you. And then we can soften the knees. Soften both knees. Make sure you can lift the heels. And then when you're ready, try not to close the hips. So imagine there's, oh, I don't know, like a barrier or wet paint or something, just kind of around the level of the centre of the spine. So we're coming up through the centre, and then we move forward, up, and then we move forward. So we're not collapsing, we're trying to make as much space in the front of the hips as possible. And then when you're ready, the right hand can come to rest on that right knee or the right thigh. You can bend the front leg if you like, if it feels easier. The right hand might go a little bit lower. The right fingertips might touch the floor, but try not to reach, because we don't want to strain anything. We want as much movement in the upper part of our spine as possible. So wherever your hands go is where it goes. The crown of the head is moving forward, your gaze is down. Take your attention, or maybe place the left hand on the collarbones. Now this part there is coming up, away from the right knee, and then turning away from the right knee. That will allow the gaze to come up, and that may allow the left arm to lift. And you have a real opening and width around the left side of the lung. The front leg can be straight, or the front leg can be bent. So you can move, you can decide. And then when you're ready, you lower that top arm and you come back. Or you might not have lifted the left arm, is fine. The left foot goes forward. So remember, we're not trying to make a shape, we're trying to find freedom in the body. The left foot goes forward. Start with the hands in front actually, if you like. Let the hands come to rest on the collarbones. Now really allow your breath to settle. And if you lift that back heel, know that the collarbones and part of the spine is lifted. So we keep that sense of coming up, and then we start to move forward. The left hand can come to rest somewhere on that left leg, and the left knee can be bent or not, but certainly not locked. Left hand might go a little bit lower. And as the back heel goes down, the collarbones come away from, up and away from that left knee, and the right arm lifts. And you're not stretching. The arm that's above rests down into the shoulder below. The arm that connects to the floor or to the left leg comes back towards the spine. And you feel your breath. And then when you're ready, come back up, step back or forward, whatever was comfortable for you. Let your hands come to rest on the upper part of the spine. Focus your gaze, or if you feel okay to close your eyes, but if you feel dizzy, keep your gaze focused. Really allow the weight of the shoulders to rest, to settle, the elbows to settle. And underneath your hands, feel your breath as it comes in. And then as you breathe out, just feel or imagine the breath travelling down through your body, through your thighs, to your knees, to your feet, through to the ground beneath. And then your breath comes back in. And then you settle and you allow the breath to travel down through your body, through your legs, through the soles of the feet, to the ground below. And then your breath comes back in. There's always that two-way thing going on, always that connection, always that sense of you and your breath. And then just for the last few minutes or so, just come to rest down, just as we started, exactly the same as we started. Or you can, or I suppose you could stay sitting if you like, but if it's all right, just coming onto your back, the knees are bent, soles of your feet are flat to the floor. And just letting your hands rest on the base of your ribs, just as we started, and just take 3 deep breaths in. And when you breathe in, really feel, can you feel as though you're expanding the ribs, filling up the lungs? And then you let the breath go. And twice more. And then when you've consciously completed those 3 breaths, without doing anything, knowing that your breath arrives and you know how to breathe, observe your breath without changing it, without making it different. Observe your body, connection to the floor. Observe the sounds that are going on around you and us. Observe your thoughts. Allowing the understanding to arise that all these things occur, they happen. You don't have to do anything. Sometimes we can just notice. And this noticing or observation gives us perspective or objectivity. So we don't always have to react. And that cultivation just begins with the breath. We know that our mind wanders, we know sounds distract us. But by bringing our attention back to our breath, we come back to the present and we notice. So as we prepare to come out of the practice, starting to move, maybe moving fingers, moving the toes, opening your eyes, it feels okay. Coming to rest over on your side, so taking your time, or you can stay a little bit longer. And just coming back when you're ready.